Teresa is out this evening. She's out of state. All right, good evening. Remember to talk into your microphones closely. Yes, that does sound nice and clear. Just a reminder, and I'm going to go call the meeting to order, and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Good evening. Any agenda adjustments this evening, Marco?
Yes, there's just one. It's 7.4. It's not wasn't in the original packet, but it may be there in front of you now, and that's for to elect or to approve Beth Reed for English position at Oak Hill High School. Yeah, just wanted to make sure because it's not on the original document that was published online.
Okay, got it. So we have an addition. We're not moving anything. Okay. It's like it wants to stay, but then it didn't want to stay. Oh, I'm getting no audio. I'm sorry. I'm getting a message of no audio online. Turn your speakers on. It's my mother, guys. I'm not being rude to community. You think we're good now? See if she heard that.
You want to text her back?
Can't hear anything.
I'm getting that it is working.
Thank you, Matt.
She's going to be famous now. Okay, so we are getting reports that is working, so we're going to proceed. Consideration of the minutes to approve the minutes of the October 8th, 2025 Board of Directors meeting.
Second.
Discussion. All right, hearing none, I'll call for the votes. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Public comment this evening. We invite anybody from the public to join us at the mic. I'm not sure why you're here this evening, so if you're not for the public, okay. It's like, no, thank you. All right, we're going to move on. Petitions and communications. I don't have anything.
Nope, nothing for me either.
All right, moving right along on to our reports. Do we have any?
Yeah, just superintendent's report. Quickly, I wanted to make mention of, actually, Shelley gave these books to me this evening. I do believe the board had asked, in memory of our food service manager, Kay Williams, to purchase some books, which we've done, and they'll be placed in the library in her memory. And I just want to take a minute. There's a nice inscription in each of the books here, just so you guys get a chance to see what that looks like. And I'll just read it if you don't mind, just so that you guys know what it says. It says, this book has been donated in loving memory of Catherine K. Williams. Kay's brilliant smile lit up a room, a reflection of the kindness and strength she showed everyone around her. A true treasure in our community, she will be deeply missed but never forgotten. She leaves behind a legacy of love and light that will continue to inspire all who knew her. So there's some nice words there for Kay. And so these books will be placed in the library for students to read. So we've got, it looks like Rumple Buttercup. Looks like a good one. And then, The Last Star Dog. I'll have to try that one out. There we go. All right. I mean, I could read it to you guys now if you'd like.
We'll have reading hour another night.
Moving on. One other thing I wanted to say is I just did meet with Carrie Ricker staff today to continue our strategic plan process. So that was a nice time with them. Was able to get some information regarding the questions that you guys answered today. It was great. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that that project continues to roll on.
All right, great. Any comments, questions for Marco? Perfect. Moving on to our old business, 6.1, to approve the school revolving renovation fund application, but I do have some specific language here for the motion. So I move to petition. Nope, this is not it. This
got
is
it
the
here.
other thing.
For SRRF?
Yeah, this is SRRF?
No, is it the Western Maine one? Is that what
Yeah.
you're? Yeah.
It said SRRF in the email.
Yeah, I can get that. That's not a problem. Just it'll be a moment, okay? Yeah, there's.
That's
thank
good?
you. Thanks, Sam. I
Okay.
thought there was. No, you're right. Go ahead.
That
That's
is
the application itself. That's correct.
Yes.
Yep.
I thought we had a different based on this, but it's for the.
It's for the
other
next one. You got it.
All right, so that was my motion.
So moved.
Discussion.
All right. So we have Jamie Willett with us here this evening. Jamie's from Harriman and Associates. He's back. He put together the proposal along with his team at Harriman and Associates. He and his team worked extremely hard to get it to us prior to the meeting. So I know that it was short notice for you guys to take a look at it. But I thought, Jamie, if you wouldn't mind, just if you wanted to hit some highlights in regards to the application itself, then we can open up to discussion and questions as we go. Does that sound good? Okay. You may need to turn the microphone on, Jamie, just because I don't know that somebody turned it on for you. There it is.
Does that work?
Um,
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's a little light. I'll speak up. Hi, folks. Thanks for having me here tonight. From the last board meeting you folks had, we were given direction to prepare a SRRF application for safety and security at the Libby Tozier School. So we took the information that we had done before and compiled a narrative to put together so that a third-party estimator could come back with an estimate to include as part of this submission, which you can see that in your package. We prepared all the narratives here that are written in here. Passed that by the administration to make sure that we understood that was the direction that they were officially looking to go forward with as far as the written language of it. So the total cost, and I just want to remind people, this is a estimate of the work based on a narrative. It is not an actual bid from a contractor. What happens basically what is you guys approve this tonight. If you do, it gets submitted to the state before next Friday. The state has a review process period. I believe they award SRRF dollars to their selected applicants by January 31st of 2026. You'll be notified that you've been awarded. You folks will review that information, and then there needs to be a vote on it in the public to move ahead with it. When that happens, after that happens, you can select an architect to come up with actual design documents that we bid out to contractors. The contractor would then provide a price back. If it falls within your budget, then you would move it. If you would elected to move forward, you'd move ahead and construct that project. That period is likely to happen next summer. It may slide to a following summer. There's a certain time range that SRF money has to be spent. But those details can be worked out after you get elected. After it gets accepted by the state as an official grant to go forward. So the cost is identified in this. If we go to I'll say a couple more words. I know I don't want to be I get long-winded sometimes. Appendix A is here, and that is a breakdown. We've tried to include as many of the parts and pieces that we think would be part of this. So there are things like hazardous material demolition and removal under the construction item, and there's also under fees and service, there's a hazardous material consultant. We don't know that there is or isn't hazardous materials, but you might have something like PCBs or lead paint on some of the doors. So those, we wanted to make sure we accounted dollars to take care of those things in the estimate. When that consultant comes on board to review that, if you folks move ahead with the construction at that point or design, you would confirm that you have or don't have it. So there, it may end up being less than this dollar, but we want to make sure, if you don't have it identified in this, the state won't consider it as funds that you can use, and they won't pay their portion of that particular piece. So we listed those items in there. Then you have some narratives on why you need it, or why the state should accept your application. The facilities director, Mr. Knox, provided some photo imagery of some of the deficiencies that are part of the application. You'll have an estimate here from the third-party estimator, and then you'll see the actual narrative that describes the proposed scope of work for the state to consider. That's all I have. If there's any questions, I can answer them.
Oh, I was just going to ask really quickly, Jamie. I want to make sure I heard you correctly. So the state wouldn't approve this without the mitigation of hazardous materials built in. Is that correct? Like it needs to be incorporated into that cost. Is that what I understood, or did I not?
If it's better to have it on the list in case you do need to take care of it, because if you don't show it in here and you do have it, then you would need to find the dollars for that. Now, if the overall budget's less than that, maybe there's dollars to cover it. But we wanted to make sure we captured some dollar value for that.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not that they won't accept it. It's just that it needs to make sure the money needs to be shown here.
Sure. No, I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
I know this is kind of like a boilerplate application, and I know we'll have to put it out to bid, but does that encompass every door in the building with the safety device to know whether the door's ajar or open?
So we carried under this narrative and estimate to replace all the exterior doors,
Right.
and provide door contacts, which is door monitoring. Several doors, and you can see in the plan in the back with little blue dots. The little blue dots are card reader locations, so that teachers and staff can get in and out of the school. And then the green dot is a door contact. So all the exterior doors, including the interior vestibule door of the security vestibule.
So I did notice in the application that there wasn't a lot in there for mechanical upgrade for that area. And I know we had discussed one other time the ventilation in the office area.
Yes. So in reviewing that with the mechanical engineer after that meeting, and then following up with the administration from the school district, what we determined was there's two offices at the front, in the front office
Right.
of the school. The mechanical engineer reviewed that. It's hard to prove that it's part of this safety and security project, but the scope that is needed to provide ventilation to those two front offices is fairly minimal.
Right.
There's enough.
It's
the
close enough to an outside wall or
There's
existing
enough
ductwork.
capacity in the existing mechanical system to tap
Yeah.
off that, tap through the wall, and provide the appropriate ventilation. So
Okay.
it's not a major ask. So because it didn't really feel like it fits with the state application portion of what we're asking for, the district thought that maybe that would work well to do that work as a separate project, or at that time you could hire somebody.
Well,
or do
that's
that
what I
work.
was looking at.
Yeah.
It would be the time to do it when we were
Agreed.
redesigning the whole vestibule area.
I agree with
And
that.
and the other question is I know there's a lot of glass there. Is there any like plan for tempered glass that you put in there, or mitigate the glass area?
So the vestibule glass would be hardened
Right.
for any of those entrance portions, and any of the doors around the perimeter that
Okay.
does need glass would also have some level of hardening to it.
All right. Thank you.
There's even bulletproof glass.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's $10,000.
Yeah. I just
Yeah,
didn't
they
know if
did
they were going to have.
Yeah. I did
Yeah.
spell it out, Robbie, in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it was like a glaze
Yeah.
that's put on the
Well,
windows.
I think the actual transaction window, when somebody comes into the vestibule area and they're communicating with the person on the other side, that one piece of glass is bulletproof according to the.
Bullet resistant is the,
Well,
is
yeah.
the that the estimate might say
It
bulletproof,
says
but
proof.
yeah,
does
it's
say
bullet
Yeah.
resistant.
Can I ask on not on the appendix A, but on this other breakdown? Could you explain the exterior signage allowance for $30,000 and how that signage allowance, exterior signage relates to this project?
Absolutely. So the important thing when you're considering safety and security for a school is to make sure that the public knows where that main entrance is and not get confused by coming into side doors. And so that allowance is simply an allowance. It does not mean you need to spend $30,000. But it's important to, and it's written in the Department of Education's narrative for school projects, that identifying the main entrance is a key component to make sure that all public knows where the main entrance is and isn't trying to use other doors and other components of the school to get in.
Do we have any existing signage for that, or?
I do not believe, there's actually an image in here of the front entry. I don't believe there's any direct signage at the main entrance itself to identify that that is the main entrance of the school. I think most public entities may or may not know, but there's also a back entrance to Libby Tozier that often gets used, and people try to get in that way as well.
Anyone else? I guess this isn't, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I actually have a question for Scott, but I was going to wait until you're done. I have a question for Scott, but I was going to wait until you were done with Jamie so he didn't have to stay and listen if he didn't want to. So my question to Scott is, when we talked about this last time, you kind of had some thoughts around, are we, or should we even be keeping this school, or should we be consolidating even more? And I wanted to hear that opinion and the thought process behind it.
Right, so before you got on the board, we had a consolidation committee that did some investigative research on which building we should close. And the committee actually found their recommendation was to close both buildings. Now, I personally wouldn't advocate for doing that right now, but I think that from a budget perspective, in the future, we're gonna have to make some serious cuts at some point, and I feel like that's probably where you're gonna be looking to make that cut. So I kind of have an issue with investing a bunch of money into this building when I feel personally that it may not exist forever, and how that might look in 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, I don't know. But I just think the board should have that sort of in the back of their mind when making ginormous financial decisions about a aging building. Does that answer your question?
So my follow-up to that would be, if we were to consolidate, what would it give us for growth room?
Well, I mean, historically, our pupil numbers are going down. If you look at the
Okay.
data year after year, our population of students is going down. Now, I know there's some new buildings being built in Sabatis and in the area, so that may change. But would have to go back and look at the consolidation committee's findings. But they actually said that there was enough room to get rid of both schools currently. So I mean, and I don't know if that's the right way. I just investing millions of dollars into a school. I don't know if that's the right direction either. I just think we need to take that into consideration. And you have to think the budget is going to grow every single year by a minimum of 3% every year, right? So 5 years from now, what's that look like? And we already have difficulty pushing the budgets through. You get 3 times, 4 times, time after time until it gets forced through. And how sustainable is it? And where are you going to look to make the big cuts?
How much how much does it cost us to proceed with the application?
That kind of leads me to this question, if you don't mind. I noticed on the Appendix A, the architecture slash engineer fee of $68,275, and then also on line 25, just below, the $20,000 preliminary study. When we first started discussing this project, maybe I'm wrong, I may have missed something, but I thought that the $20,000 was going to be built into the engineering fee and service cost. But so now instead of looking at, I thought that the 20,000 would be part of their percentage they were taking off the top of the budget, but it's clearly, here at least, it's separated into two separate items.
Yeah, so up to $20,000, right? That's what the contract is that we're working it right now. So my guess is that that's reflected in there, and if we are awarded that, that money is coming back to us. I can't speak to the additional pieces of that, but my guess is that, yeah, go ahead, the 68,000, Jamie?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So the $20,000 is listed under line item 25 is for the preliminary study, which is part of this application process.
Mm-hmm.
The architectural and engineering fee, which I've written in the numbers that are allowed by the state, which is 8.7% for a new construction, plus they add a 2.5% qualifier, equaling 11.2% for any construction project. So I took the subtotal above for construction and multiplied that out by the 11.2, which is $68,275. That $20,000 that we're charging is for Harriman's services today. You may elect that you don't want to proceed with Harriman under the construction project. So you may elect to hire someone else. So they wouldn't provide some level of offering for that. That is the standard kind of percent rate for designing an actual project. We just did a study and the application fee, and so and that fee would be separate from a construction documents process, which is what that 11.2% covers.
Go ahead,
So, getting back to the number, if we get awarded the project by the state, we pay a percentage, they pay a percentage. Our percentage is what, 33, 34% is basically what it is?
I'd have to defer to.
Well, I know, but that's
Okay.
basically, I'm just saying
I think it was approximately that.
it's approximately that, but that is the whole total number, including the engineering fee, right? So we wouldn't be paying $68,000 up
Correct.
front for the engineering fee and the cost of the contract. It's the total cost of the contract. The state pays a percentage, we pay a percentage.
You'd be paying your share of
Right, we'll be
that
paying
total.
our share,
Correct.
but that 68,000 is rolled into the whole contract.
Where's the state get their money?
So, just, it's obviously something to kick around. And I mean, I think your point is valid, Scott, right? Like, we can't predict the future, that's for sure. And I know, obviously, like, the consolidation committee's work, and recommendation of both buildings being closed, and then, changes to how we're basically educating our students, right? I mean, there were all kinds of proposals out there, 8th grade moving to the high school, and, X number of grades being in Oak Hill Middle School, so on and so forth. And, I think those come with expense too, regardless of, the configuration that we have. The big piece, I guess, right now, when I think about this whole process and like what we've been kicking around, you guys have been asking excellent questions around this, is that we have an opportunity, right, to potentially improve one of our buildings that we're going to use for the near future, at least. And we pay a small percentage of that. Now, I don't know, I'm sure the rest of you guys do this too, right? It's like when you look at the bottom, this is the first thing I did, right? Like, I got this document and I looked at the bottom line. I'm like, what is it going to cost us, right? And that's a big number. To me, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a lot. But the reality is that we're paying a percentage of that big number over 10 years. And we know it's 10 years because after we met the last time, Sam contacted, was it Ann Thompson? Is that her name? Is it Ann Thompson, Sam, at the state?
Penat.
Panett, to find out like which would it be, 5-year or 10-year loan. So it would be a 10-year loan because it's over $500,000. That's how they determine that. And so it's roughly $32,000 a year that we would pay on that for this project. And again, I'm not trying to sway anybody, but it's about safety and security of our kiddos in that building. We know that the entrance, and some of the doorways aren't holding up as they should. Like, again, here's an opportunity to do something about that and replace a very antiquated fob system where we only have one keyed access in and out of that building. And obviously I think you captured that well, Jamie, in the write-up and the information that Sean provided. The last thing I would say is that as part of this process, with Jamie's work and our discussions that we've had, they've asked for letters of support from people that are working within the building itself. Would you support this process, the project? And so we will have letters from Jan, obviously the building principal, Janice Plant, who's been at Libby Tozier. Both of them have been at Libby Tozier for a very long time. And then also I asked our SRO, Connor Pinkham, to weigh in too. And, that's obviously just to have a testament to the work that needs to be done there in hopes that our application is approved. So, I mean, I think obviously, like I said, is that first initial shock of like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money, and it is. There's no two ways about it. But given that it's a percentage over X number of years, we may need to keep the building for whatever reason. And I know we've been asked to look at the quality of our buildings and keep upkeep and so on and so forth. So, I guess those are my two thoughts, or more than two thoughts, in regards to in regards to the project.
I mean,
And
we'll
at least
still
submitting
have
the
to-
application. Excuse me.
Sorry. No,
No,
I
I'm
thought you were-
sorry.
I was just going to say, and we'd still have to decide if we were awarded, if we want to proceed and put it out to the town. So I did see Matt first, but I'm fine if you guys decide who goes next. Go for it.
Last meeting, I believe we were of that 20,000. We were at what, 8,500 ish. Where are we now today? Of that.
I don't know the answer to that right now. I don't know how many hours I've spent and other team members as of today.
Would you say it's getting pretty close to that 20?
Likely.
Okay.
I think, are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the other thing to remember is the public asking us, have we applied for any grants? Have we looked to seek out funding and support for our buildings, knowing that that's kind of our due diligence as board members? So in my opinion, I think it makes sense to apply. We don't want to leave money on the table that we might actually be eligible for. And the fact that it is protecting our youngest students, I think, is an important consideration point.
All right. Any more questions? Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say no to free opportunity for funding, obviously, but we haven't even got into budget season, so $30,000. I mean, that's could mean maybe like a support staff part-time position or something. So I just don't know where, like, if we're gonna add, we need to look at places to subtract. Not very long from now, we're gonna be in budget season, and we're making decisions of spending money before we're even talking about budgeting. So I don't know. That's just my thought on that. Yeah, I feel like as far as safety and security, it's kind of off topic, I suppose, but one of the biggest things that we can do is absolutely not going to cost you anything, and that's to post a gatekeeper at the door at the beginning of school and at the end of school. And just like, the middle school is one to follow. They do that. When I go to middle school, Doug can probably vouch for me, there's always somebody standing at the door, right? And if something's going to happen, it's less likely to happen because there's usually 2 or 3 staff members standing there. And somebody has an opportunity to rush in and close the door or do something that something's just less likely to happen just because there's presence there. And this morning, the sheriff's department was there. Just having that presence, again, they weren't even in a car this morning, but just having the vehicle there, okay, it's a perception of there's a gatekeeper there. There's something that's there's a prohibiting entrance, right? So you could actually have just a staff member stationed outside the door, and that's huge, and that doesn't cost you anything. So it's thinking outside the box.
I noticed on the paperwork it says that we're anticipating 1.2 million for the next 10 years is to put into Libby Tozier is part of the paperwork. Yeah.
It's the entire district.
Okay, 10-year capital improvement plan. All right. Okay, yeah, I read it as the 10-year capital improvement plan for Libby Tozier appropriates approximately 1.2 million annually for projects of significant nature. So that definitely reads as for Libby Tozier, not for the school system. You know, that. I find it, I guess I'm still a little perplexed if we take a step back, is that we've spent 6 weeks talking about trying to just get this particular grant because it's on sale, and we get FAF funding, and we've been finding things to try to justify the half funding for. But we haven't spent any time at all trying to talk about what our long-term goal is for Libby Tozier and how we're going to move forward with it, considering the consolidation committee did recommend that Libby Tozier be closed or done something with. I find it peculiar that we've spent no time talking about the actual building or that plan, and instead we've spent 3 meetings talking about, and I'm not trying to be a negative person, I'm just trying to be to the point, for time. And I'm looking back at the old paperwork. September 9th, we had option 1 and 2. We had an email from option 1 and 2 was the ventilation and ADA sinks. It wasn't until September 22nd that we got something about the safety and security, which I do truly believe is important, but it just feels like we're trying to find something to justify getting this half-covered grant that does not go away. We can apply for next year as well. We aren't without. And a lot of it was the prompting because we already invested some money into Harriman to try to just kind of push forward with it, but to go with $800,000 or so when we haven't even had a discussion on, I just feel like it would hurt to have a discussion on where we're going with the school long term, like 5 years from now, as opposed to putting money and spending this time just trying to figure out what we're doing not short term. You know, like in my mind, it doesn't make sense. And I just feel like that's an important thing, kind of what's been kicked around by a few other board members is an important thing to mention.
So Nancy had her hand raised, but before I let you speak, Nancy, do we have any more questions for Jamie? Because we could talk quite lengthy here. Any more questions for Jamie? And then I defer to you and Marco if you think, if you would like to stay or if you would like to
I'm fine either way.
to leave.
Okay. Good to go. You sure?
Thank you. All right, Nancy.
So the way I understand it is we've already spent the money. So at this point, it seems to me to make sense to go ahead and submit the application, but that gives us from now until the end of January to have the exact conversations Doug is talking about and come up with a good strategy of how we would want to proceed should we get the funds.
And in fact, you have 6 months after it's awarded to decide whether or not you're going to proceed. So you do have, I wouldn't give you the full 6 months.
But we're going into budget season at the end of
Yeah.
January, so
And
I
we'll be able
think
to be able to
knowing
have
what we want to do would be
those. Yeah, we'll be able to include that in our discussions. That was going to be my point, is we have spent the money. They have done the work. We could put forth the application and still have discussions, and I think they need to include what Scott and Doug have brought up this evening. Right? I think that would be my recommendation. Did you have your hand up at all, Diane? Yeah. Thought I saw it. You gotta hold it. There you go.
I was going to say, having been in the schools, when you go from Oak Hill Middle or Cary Rigger or the high school or Sabatis Primary for that matter, and you go over to Libby Tozier, there's a big difference between the way you enter that building. And my personal feeling is the reason we're at the point we're at is because nobody ever did anything along the way, because the budget kept getting cut and get cut and get cut. We need to step in it. We need to fix it. It's not safe for our young kids. It's not fair that these kids or parents have to enter a building that is not as safe as 3 other buildings in our district. So we need to do something. And we're not going to be leaving that building, I'm sure, for the next 4 or 5 years. There's no way. I don't see how we're going to fit all those kids. Right now, you go to those schools and they're crowded. So I say we need to do it and see what happens. Maybe we can get some bids that are less.
All right. Any other comments for notes or feedback that have not been raised yet? I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor in proceeding with the approval, with the application, raise your hands. It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it.
More to come.
That's true. And I'm happy to do that work, right? Like if we need to pull together some people, excuse me.
So maybe we need a workshop to talk building.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I can put some preliminary work together. I mean, take a look at the documents from the consolidation committee, what those recommendations were, look at what our existing structures are as far as grade levels are concerned and space are concerned, and we can do that work. I think it's well said. I appreciate the conversation, you guys, because it's nice to be able to move forward with it. But then, all right, so what are we doing with that building? So that's good. Appreciate it.
And we don't want to lose out in case we are able to, and we do have those budget conversations. We are able to maybe pull it from somewhere else, or have it be a wash.
And let's not forget the expansion of pre-K and serving younger students.
Mhm.
That was not in the conversation when we were talking consolidation.
It was not.
So just
It was not the CDS in our schools.
It's important to mention that the maintenance is always the first line to get cut. And Robbie knows, he's talked about it many times. Everybody knows it's the one item that you always kick down the curb, and that's why we are where we are. So I personally think the board needs to get very serious about where else we're going to focus our efforts so that we can try and focus on some of the buildings and the maintenance.
And not significantly increase the budget continuously. Go ahead, Matt.
Chrissy, I just wanted to point out that it was discussed. Yeah.
Okay.
We weren't, I think at that point in time, we weren't sure that it was definite. It was talked about,
Okay.
but it was part of the discussion that this might be a possibility. So
Okay, good.
Oh, the pre-K stuff, Matt? Is that
the,
is
yeah,
that
the
what you- okay.
expansion of pre-K to
Just
younger.
making sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't remember that. Thank you.
When we,
Oh yeah,
when-
we'll get it.
when
We'll
we
get it,
looked at-
buddy.
when we
We'll
looked
get
at
it.
the consolidation of building the new building, that was in there.
Oh, from way back, you're
From way
saying?
back, yeah.
Okay.
That's all still on our website.
Okay.
The,
That's
all
good.
of the consolidation
Yeah,
stuff.
the addition.
We'll do some homework then, or I'll do some homework.
Yes. That's homework
works.
for you. I'll have homework for the rest of them later.
I already
All right. Moving on to our new business, 7.1, to approve RSU number 4 to join the Western Maine Regional Service Center. And this is where I have some additional motion language. So I motion to petition the Western Maine Regional Service Center Board of Directors for membership and to authorize the superintendent on behalf of the RSU 4 to enter into a membership agreement in the form presented to this meeting with the Western Maine Regional Service Center.
Second.
Discussion.
What
All
does
right.
this mean?
What's that?
What does this
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Right, what are all those
So,
words?
regional service centers was a hot topic a number of years ago, guys. So, the RSU had a chance probably 5 or 6 years ago to join a regional service center, right? Regional service centers are born out of really the need to share resources among school districts. And the way that this happens is you have to obviously join a regional service center in order to get the benefits of the regional service center. So when the RSU had the chance to do that, the agreements were binding for long term. They were long-term binding agreements. And so members of the school board decided not to go forward with that because they didn't want to be locked into something that they couldn't then get out of if they didn't want to be a part of it. That has changed. So if we decide to join this service center, we can then decide not to be a part of it at some point in time, and there's now no penalty or anything along with that. Now, you may be saying to yourself, what's the point, right? So the point of it is this. By sharing services as part of a regional service center, you pay dues to that. And so what that does is it allows us to share the resources of gifted and talented. And what that means is that we have opportunities to send our kids to a couple of different events that happen primarily at the University of Maine at Farmington campus. The other thing, which is that is very attractive, the other thing about this that's also attractive is that the state will then pay us a subsidy for joining that service center. So if we do that, we pay $2.25 per student based on our October 1 count, right? And that is roughly about $2,800 to $3,000 depending on our count. I did it $1,250 is what I think I did the count as, right? What we would receive from the state in return is $70,000 as part of being a part of that service center. That $70,000 can be used, to continue to support obviously transportation and things like that to this regional service center and the events, but we can also use it for other things. It's unrestricted. So with that being said, and it kind of sounds too good to be true, right? Because you pay $2,800 and hi.
It was
Cutting out.
It was cutting in and out.
Oh, it's cutting out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nothing where we lost.
All right. That's no worries. I don't know what I was saying. I lost my train of thought, though.
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true, right? So we pay these dues to get this subsidy. Now, I got to tell you, this regional service center, I've called the president of the association, Pam Doyen, who's the superintendent in Dixfield, and talked with her about this, essentially saying that, what am I missing about this? And she said, you're not missing anything. This is what you have to do. The state did not recognize, I don't know if you guys know, we're part of WMEC, which is Western Educational Collaborative. They didn't recognize it as a service center. So what they did is they just took the same group of people and set it up as a service center so that then those dollars could follow the service center. So if we're a part of that, we get a subsidy from the state. I know. I had to ask a couple of times, are you sure? If we paid the $2,800, that's what our commitment is annually, and every year we get. And the reason I know it's $70,000 is the bookkeeper for the service center did our numbers and ran it through what we pay as far as or what we get for subsidy from the state, and came up with that number of roughly $70,000. Go ahead, Doug.
So why does the state want everybody to be members of this service center?
To share resources.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's just financially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are we going to lose money from some other line from the state?
I don't think so, because otherwise people wouldn't do this. I mean, I just gotta tell you.
It just if it's too good to be true,
I know.
it usually is.
I know, right? I feel like I'm in like advertising 101, right? Yeah. Just so I mean, right now, you know, it started with MACD 13, 44, 58, 59, 9, 10, 56, 73, and 74. Lisbon School Department, Andover School Department joined in 2021, along with Fayette School Department in 2024. And so there's 12 different school districts a part of this regional service center right now. What do you mean? Any of them? Oh, you mean in
the
Western Maine? I don't know. I don't know how they determine that. I don't know that answer. I'm sorry.
So Matt, he had raised his hand before, so then I'll go to you, Doug.
Just the math is mathing for me. I mean, there's got to be some benefit for them to be giving out the 70,000 to each school that does this. But what is it, cutting costs for them somewhere in the sharing of resources or transportation, or I mean,
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, right? Like when you think about, like, you know, back when consolidation was a big thing, right? Like that was the big push: consolidate to save money, you know, to you know, get rid of superintendents, you know, that kind of thing, so that you can save some money. And I don't feel, I mean, in the way that I've had it explained to me, that's not the way it's coming across.
So we can send our students to gifted and talented courses at other schools.
It's not courses, so there's a couple of different things here. I'll just read them to you if you'd like, Doug, just to let you know.
Before I lose my train of thought, I
Go
guess
for
I
it.
also want to know, what I'm more interested in is what is it that we have to share as part of that? So you kind of mentioned, and you have a list of what we get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
What are we obligated to share when we sign up? for other
$2,800.
people?
That's what we have to
That's
share.
just
That's it.
No other school is going to ask us for any, or to use anything, or
Mm-mm.
go do anything.
No.
Then what are we sharing exactly?
So we're
the
sharing an
list.
experience, right? So like we're we're sharing the opportunity to join the service center, right, and to continue to bring legitimacy to it, right? Like the more members, obviously, the better off you are, in that sense. So there's a couple of things that are offered to us, right? So the first one is Western Maine Discovery Day, which is an experience for 3rd through 6th graders, gifted and talented students at UMF. And then there's also professional development for gifted and talented teachers, coordinators, or other educators interested in gifted and talented education, along with monthly virtual sessions held October through May. Now, with that being said, Doug, you know, it could be that, you know, we're sharing some of our gifted and talented resources in the sense of like professional development. Like we might have our gifted and talented teacher go and do a session for other gifted and talented teachers in this service center.
Go ahead, Christy. Yes, I'm looking up the law.
I'm also looking at the law, Nicole. I have it up, and it's interesting. So it seems like each region chooses what the need is for the service center. So like some regions are sharing like accounting and payroll, transportation, reporting, special ed, administration and programs. GT sounds like this region's pretty heavy on that. Like summer school, alternative ed. The law is interesting because it says that may include but are not limited to. So it's very much a catchment, and it sounds like the funding is a different bucket of money.
Does it say which bucket?
So the law for service centers is Title 20A, Chapter 123, Education Service Centers, and it says that it's funding. It's established by Section 308, subsection 2. I don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it doesn't say specifically, but it doesn't have any reporting. Like what Marco's saying is what it's true. That's weird.
It is weird. I had, just so you guys know, Matt, I'll get to your question just a second, but I had the executive director for Western Maine Educational Collaborative, Christy Littlefield, reached out to me in regards to this, and she's like, hey, you know, I know you guys didn't do this in the past, but again, here's this opportunity. Now, just so you guys know, like, we don't have to, I put it on here, as an approval. We don't have to necessarily vote on it this moment. Like, if you would like me to continue to dig into it so that, like, you feel, as confident as possible voting it, that's fine. We just have to make sure that we're a part of it by December. And I say that because if we want to qualify for funds for, I think it's the 26-27 school year, so that's subsidy from the state, we would need to make sure that we have a vote done by December of this year. Okay? I just want to make sure that that's clear. All right? Sorry, Matt.
I apologize. You may have already said this, but I've been trying to think through why they're giving. The 70,000, is that one time or is that an annual thing?
It's an annual thing. It's based on enrollment. Yep.
So as long as we continue to pay the $2,800 each year,
That's
they're
correct.
paying out $70,000
In return. Correct.
Is that, Marco, is that the same thing that we had for teachers where they would go to Farmington? Western Maine would provide
Yeah.
PD?
Yeah, so right. It was like I was saying, Diane, right? So there's two organizations here, right? There's Western Maine, WMEC, Western Maine Educational Collaborative. That's the one that you're thinking of, that where we send people to do professional development. We have great meetings and opportunities through that.
This is separate.
This is separate, but it was spawned out of this because the state did not recognize that as a regional service center, even though, it's servicing people regionally. So they created this other organization in order to help, obviously, fill a need. Gifted and talented amongst, Western Maine groups can be tough to find people who are certified to do that work with students. But also, to receive the subsidy from the state.
So since this is based on enrollment, do you think that we may expand our gifted and talented program? I mean, offer additional classes, courses? I could say one thing. I know that it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of seeking out gifted and talented kids. It's more or less getting referrals from parents a lot of the times, but teachers and parents, but there's not a lot of seeking out of that.
Yeah. And I might pivot to Shelley to answer that question just because she oversees gifted and talented, Scott. But, my thought is like, if there's a way for us to share, right, like in true spirit of the regional service center, right, for us to, provide opportunities for whether it's additional classes elsewhere or, and I say that, right, like maybe that's done over Zoom or something along those lines, just given that some of these schools are farther away. I could see that being a potential. I don't know that only because we're not a part of it.
Yeah, I just think, if the money you're getting from the state is based on enrollment, wouldn't that encourage you to enroll more kids?
It's not the enrollment of NGT. It's our student enrollment.
Oh, okay.
Overall,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
So I
Yeah.
follow. Got you.
No.
That's a difference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott. Yeah.
That's okay. And that they do actually offer professional development offerings for gifted and talented educators as well.
Yeah, there's a whole write-up in here about it, which I can get you guys
So
to.
the other program you were talking about, they also have an event for kids, gifted and talented kids to go to. Because my son went to Orono for math last year. I think it was last year.
Oh, no way, really?
Mhm.
Was it through that regional service center?
It was, I don't know, it was something he did with GT Math.
Maybe it was a part of that. No, you don't think so, Shelley?
It was like a big whole thing. They sent home this list of activities they were doing, and there was like scavenger hunts around the campus and all kinds of really cool stuff.
Did he dig it?
He liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I kind of wanted to go.
Go ahead, Christy.
Are there municipalities connected to this? Because in the law it says they can be. Or
I mean,
or county government or local.
I think
towns.
Lisbon probably would be our only municipality, right? Like, That's what
Yeah.
you're talking about,
Yeah.
like town of Auburn.
of, yeah.
Right, exactly. So I would think Lisbon would be a part of that.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not town government.
I'm sorry.
They are a municipality, but I think she's talking about. Yeah, not that I know of. I don't know of any regional service centers that include municipal side. Yeah.
Would anybody else support tabling this to the next meeting and on top of that, tasking Marco to contact some of the superintendents from the existing
You got it.
school departments to make
Yep.
sure this is legit? 'Cause
Absolutely.
I know you're hearing it from Christy, but
Oh no, and from Pam Doyen's the superintendent in Dixfield. She's also the president of this regional service center.
Right,
yeah.
right. But maybe I mean they list,
You're fine.
They list Lisbon and
No problem. I'm happy
Marco?
to do it. Yeah.
I was just gonna say from over here, Sam and I had the exact same idea, and we went to the 279s for this year, and we found the line on the 279 where that allocation is. So we looked at, Pam Doyen, Dixfield, and you can see the amount they get in that line for the service center. It's just an additional line in your EPS. I mean, in your 279. So legitimately, they have the amount they got, and when you look at ours, we have 0. So that's where that would be.
I'm happy to do the research,
no,
you
I
guys.
mean,
It's
well,
no
I
problem.
mean, hearing that makes me feel a little bit better. And at the end of the day, you're talking about $2,800 to try, to get 70. I mean, what do you have to lose, really? $2,800.
I mean, this was like
it's
Marco.
only 1 year. So.
Right, Marco came to me and he said, "Am I missing something?"
Yeah, totally.
And I said, "No,
Like,
I
this
really
is
don't think so." I
impossible.
mean, they wanted to foster more regionalization, and then every region decides what they're going to do. So if our service center did more, then the cost might be higher, and you'd spend more of that allocation. But right now, they do what costs us $2,800. So
Go ahead, Matt, and then I'm gonna tell you guys what my friend co-pilot says.
I was just gonna say, I think this sounds great, and I would say, I guess I would second Scott's motion to just
Sure.
a little. I'm concerned about any catch, any hook, any. Yeah,
Listen,
so
it's-
just to table
it is.
until.
Zero issue on my part, man.
Yeah.
I am happy only because, like I said, I've talked to Pam, I talked to Christy. They're just like, you need to do this. This is what the benefit is. Not Christy, not that Christy. Christy Littlefield, excuse me. You're right. I mean, it's kind of a lot to process. It's good to kick it around now, get kind of the questions out there, and I'm happy to. I'll see these guys prior to our board meeting. Well, I'll call them, but I would see them prior to our board meeting on the 5th because we have our Western Maine Superintendents group. I can throw it out there and just be like, tell me what I'm missing, because I asked Shelley and she's like, I don't think we're missing anything. No.
And there is some information on DOE. So I asked Copilot. I use AI a lot. I use it to at least, get things rolling, but then I always go dig and confirm. AI is not always correct. I fight with it too. So I said, what's the catch with an education service center? Because that's what they're called. They're typically structured as a fee-for-service agreement. However, the state provides financial incentives to offset those costs, but only if certain conditions are met. To receive the member allocation, you must purchase at least one service from 2 different funding categories, e.g. instructional services and support services each year. Be in good standing under their interlocal agreement, which outlines dues, obligations, and governance. So it's not automatic, it is contingent, so that's where I think we'll have to get those additional questions answered, like what are those contingencies, what are those commitments and obligations? And then it says it's a reward, basically. So it's not strategic takeaway. It's not a bait and switch, but it's a performance-based funding model. The ESC structure rewards districts that actively participate in shared services and meet the criteria. So, yeah, think we'll get some more information, but I'm not taking a second motion. I need to finalize the motion on the floor, which is to approve. So either vote or we withdraw.
Yeah,
Make a
motion.
motion.
Or you want a motion
Make
to
a motion to
table?
Why don't we
table.
just do it? No, I mean, if they've inspected the line item for other districts and it's based on what Copilot's saying, I mean, and it's only in 1 year obligation.
Yeah,
If
it's
not what it's cracked up to be, then Marco, do you have the requirements?
yeah. I mean, this is the process itself to join. So the first obviously is to get approval from you guys, and then provide that documentation to the executive director of WMRSC, and then they vote to have us come in. So we petition them to join. They vote on it, and then they provide documentation to the DOE, and then we just basically pay our membership dues from there annually. It doesn't say that. There's
So
no number.
Shelley, the
There's no number
question-
8.
Yeah, the question Christy asked was if there's additional reporting or work on Shelley and Sam. And Shelley's not shaking her head no. So
Is that money this year or is it next year?
No, it would
It'd
be
be next year.
it would be next
26,
year.
20. Is that next year? 26, 27?
Sure
Holy
is.
smokes. Holy smokes.
Let's vote.
All right, let's vote.
So I guess we're voting. I rescind my motion to table.
One quick question. When will we have to pay the dues? Would that be out of the 26-27 budget, or do we have to pay dues this year?
We'd have to pay them this year because I think it would be this year's. And I say this, Sam, well, it says pay yearly membership dues, invoices emailed in July. So, I mean, so it'd be
So
next
that'd be
year.
the next year's budget.
Yeah.
Do you know when they vote on approval? If you
They meet twice a year. It would be, and I think it would be, right at, well, I said I should look, but I can't remember because I think it's December. That's when they needed to know if we were going to go forward with it. So it's got to be around that December, January aspect of things.
that would line up perfectly because it'd approve us potentially in December, and then we would have our budget discussion, and then we are invoiced in July.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
Wow, what you
I-
guys? Thank you. I mean, it's like I said, I was like, what?
I think we'd still like those questions asked, though, right?
What?
In preparation for.
No, too late. You voted.
You still have homework.
I got it. No problem. I'm happy to ask. Happy to
Alright.
ask.
Okay, that brings us to 7.3 to review the process.
Nope,
No, 7.2.
7.2.
7.2. I thought you said 3. I'm sorry. And I just went with that, and I can't keep track. So 7.2 to discuss presentation topics for principals and directors. Marco.
Yeah, thank you guys. Just feeling like we need to maybe shake it up a little bit with our presentations, and that's nothing against obviously the presentations that have been done to this point or anything that's been done in the past. But I'm feeling this is how I'm feeling, right? We have business to take care of, right? I mean, we have lots to talk about and discuss, and I think it would be helpful if we were to streamline our presentation process by I'd be looking for our topics of things that you guys would like to hear about going on in the school district, or questions that you might have. And what I would do is I would work with the people that, would answer those topics or questions. And then we could do some pointed presentations that maybe dive a little deeper into whatever the topic or question might be. And we spread those out throughout the school year. And I'm not talking about every other month, maybe 4 to 5 times a year is what I'm looking at. And it's really to streamline, obviously, the information that you guys are getting, but streamline the business that we have in front of us as a board. And we have lots to talk about, and you guys know that. I mean, you've lived it, as a board for quite some time. So that's just something that I've been thinking about. I've been kicking it around a little bit with Nicole in our weekly meetings, and I wanted to bring it forward to you guys just to see what you thought about that. And I say that only because I think it's important for us to really get down to business that we have. And if we have questions about stuff, let's get those out ahead of time and put some presentations together throughout the school year and go with that. So I guess I'm curious your thoughts on that and what you might want to hear about. So let's start with
Christy, then Scott,
Okay.
and then Robbie.
So I think that's a great idea. However, I also am wondering if building administrators can send us their newsletters. Because if you don't have a young person in the school, you're not getting that really interesting what's going on month to month. And I think
or week to week,
yeah, depending
on the school. Yep.
So that would kind of feed the crave that I have for information in terms of like what's going on in our schools. And those are my favorite updates that they give us when they're showing us videos and pictures and all the good stuff. So if there's a way for them to include us on their newsletter, I think that would eliminate my need for that.
I could put it in your board packet too.
Yeah. So perhaps that maybe that's the way. I don't know. But I like the idea of 4 to 5 times a year. I think it's a better use of their time and a better use of our time together. I need to think about topics, though.
Sure. Yeah, no worries. We don't have to answer that right off.
Scott?
So I kind of agree and kind of disagree with what Christy just said. Like you said, we have a job to do here, and although I enjoy seeing the field trips and the crafts and all the things that the kids are doing, it's great, but at the same time, we're here for a mission, right? And we need to, I'd rather the time be spent you telling us as a board what we can do to support you to make improvements. And some of that the other stuff is nice, but we don't get a whole lot. Like, we'll have a report and it's like, oh, we did this, this, and this, and this, but it's not like, well, we're struggling with this and we could really use your support in this way. So I think that maybe continue with the reports, but I would like them more focused on a topic or a situation that they're having, something they're seeing that we can help them with. And even if it's just discussing the goals that they have or something more goal-oriented. The newsletter is a great idea because that still keeps you in the loop and you know about the current events and the happenings going on in schools. But I would rather see it a little bit more focused, I guess I could say. And that's really more focused for the building administrators. I think the other administration reports are important still. But even with them, sometimes we're hearing about things that, how relevant is it to what we're trying to accomplish here at the end of the day?
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Scott and Christy that I think they should be more focused, and I like to see the stuff about how well the kids are doing and projects that they got going on. But as we all know, week to week, schools change and things come up. Yeah. And the thing I've always disliked is somebody in the community coming up to me and said, hey, this is going on at the school. What are you guys doing about it? And I have no clue. And it's, maybe because it didn't get filtered through the principal from the teacher or the teacher to the superintendent. And I know Marco, and our past superintendents have done a great job informing us of those things. But I just don't want it to be a rah-rah session. I want, like Scott said, I want to hear what they need from us to help them be successful.
That's great.
And whether that's with grades or, kids, how they learn and things like that. That's my point.
Yeah, that's well said, Robbie. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I think Jen's presentation that she did, was it last time, was a good example of the type of information that's really helpful to us. So if we could focus on those types of presentations, that would be great. One thing that I would love to see, and I know you provided me some data, but I'd like even more additional context around it, is
of course.
Often when we're doing reviews of, the data points of how students are doing. We're focused on the kids who are falling behind and how do we get them up to the middle. But rarely do we focus on the kids who are ahead of where they should be and how do we keep them motivated and keep pushing them forward.
Yep.
And I think it would be interesting to have a presentation talking about it from all the different levels. And are there more examples or more opportunities for us to take advantage of, you know, the educational paths, taking college classes when you're in high school? I don't know that we're utilizing that to the best of our ability.
Sure.
That would almost be, you're right, Nancy, it'd almost be like selling ourselves better to the community. You know, get it, tell us what the successes are. I think that's a great idea.
Sorry, Christy, go ahead.
And I think being strategic about how what is presented to us impacts our decisions around the budget. Because what's presented to us as the board is also what the public is hearing. So if we can have those discussions of like, okay, this is what's going on in my school, and I would really like to see 2 additional teachers, and this is how it would impact, and this is, if we didn't have this position, this is how it would impact. That would be much more helpful when we have to make those really hard decisions about like, okay, are we going to fund new uniforms? Are we going to put a new ed tech in a behavior like those kinds of conversations I think could be helpful. But I also, in saying that, want to be protective of our administrators too. So just thinking about kind of what our norms would be around these presentations. Like I know we went from not even being able to ask them questions for not being able to ask questions a few years ago, and that really changed the dynamic. So I'm just spewing as I'm thinking, but like if we can be really strategic in terms of the deep dive and how it impacts the budget and the decisions that people are making about supporting our schools, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sorry, Diane, go ahead.
I know many years past, they didn't do it like they do it now, but I know teachers were invited to share at different schools something that was going very well at their school. And so that, it's nice to see the teachers up here as well doing that. I know board members at that time like that. I know, Robbie, you were around at that time. And so maybe teachers signing up to present something, even maybe have some kids up here, because we also have parents that are watching.
Right.
And they may not watch it tonight, but they may watch it this week. So they want to know what's going on in their school as well. So we still need to do something in that respect.
Thank
I mean, you used to come in and do a great big presentation on Flag Day. And a lot of people didn't even know what was happening at the school.
Right.
Or Farm Day or any other thing.
Yep.
That makes it sound like more of a collaborative effort, and all the stakeholders are involved, and you're getting ideas and from even at the teacher level instead of just at the administrator level. You're hearing it like right from the horse's mouth.
That's right.
So
and I know we used to sign up for it. I know the principal would say, these are some of the topics that we'd like presentations on at the school board. Is there anybody that would be interested in doing that? And so a bunch of us would get together and we'd sign up to go. It was
and
voluntary.
Work together. Yeah. Good. Well, that's awesome, Diane. I
But
didn't realize that.
It was the first part of the meeting.
Sure.
Right.
And then we could leave.
Right.
But it wasn't, it could be, I want to say it was like 10 minutes at the most.
Yeah.
But it was it was one presentation that night.
Yeah.
It was
exactly.
nothing else.
So that's one of the things I've been talking with Marco about, and we also brought it up last year with our sessions is time limits, which I'm also trying to, do with you guys. And if there is a data presentation, I know this was requested of the prior superintendent, we need that ahead of time, because my brain struggles when that's all presented at one time. But those are my 2 things for norms: is time limits and data presentations ahead of time. Go ahead, Scott.
I don't know how the rest of you feel about this, but I do think it's important to have the early on meeting about goals, and in the follow up at the end of the year, where did you pace, and how did you where did you land
Right.
with the goals that you set? but really more focused, I think, in the beginning of the meeting or the beginning of the school year, your goals, but how are you going to get there? Like,
Mhm.
what steps are you going to take to actually achieve those?
Mhm.
Dig a lot deeper
Yeah.
into that. And so I don't really think that I would want to lose out on those two specific
Sure.
opportunities to talk with building administrators.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doug.
I think kind of to bring up a point that Christy kind of was touching on is that I think it's kind of a challenge between walking that fine line between what the administrators should be reporting through the superintendent that then gets reported to us, and what we need to ask questions we may have that should go through the superintendent to the admin. I think that's, I would like for them to be more candid about issues that they have going on that the school board could help with. But I do think that the challenge is that sometimes some of these issues should be going through the proper channels that way and not just direct. And I can't think of any concrete examples, but I know in the past I've heard comments that sometimes the admins are concerned. They get concerned when they report something because they're afraid that they're going to be criticized. When usually the thing, I personally like it when people have a problem or concern and they want to let everybody know to be make aware. But some people will get concerned about that, career-wise, that kind of thing. Same thing with teachers. I remember being a new teacher and you never wanted to talk up about anything or speak up because you never knew. You never knew how that would go for you, So, again, I feel like maybe if we had ground rules or a list or something of what should go from us to you to them and what from, or maybe we could come up as a group what would be discussion points that are available to talk from admin to school board direct that wouldn't be undermining or overmining or whatever you would call that, the superintendent's role in all this, that kind of thing. I know that would benefit me.
Maybe we just expand the superintendent's report a bit to include some of that. And I don't want to, maybe I misspoke earlier when I said, coming to the board with problems or how we can support them. And it's not, and it always have to be in a negative way. It could be, how can we support you in a positive way? Like, what things can we do as a board to help you improve?
Did you have something, Matt? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that I agree with most of what's being said. It sounds pretty good. To kind of piggyback off of what Scott was saying a moment ago about the goals, I think it would be important to also have a midway progression to know, things are going great, we're on track, struggling, need some help, and that's, I guess that would also kind of fall around budget season 2 and our budget discussion. So like, hey, next year we need to look at,
Well,
improving this or.
I think the thing that you're speaking about, Matt, and what I've heard from, everybody here is that it's like, how can we help, right? Like, and to be honest, right? Like, as a former high school principal, it's like you're not always thinking about that when you're doing a presentation, as Doug was saying. You're opening yourself up, right? These are the things that are going on at Oak Hill High School, and obviously, like, I would talk about the things, hit the highlights. These are the things that are going on that are really good, but they're like any, right? You don't always hear the tough stuff, right? Because that could be hard to share about. But if the board's stance is, we're here to help, we want to support you, we need to hear about these things, it's different. You're giving them, permission and the support necessary to bring those things forward, which I think is extremely healthy and helpful. And so, like what I'm hearing from you guys is that you're open, you're open to the topics, maybe not necessarily right this second, which is totally fine. We can talk about it at the next meeting. But I can start putting together some ideas of things that, like, just from snippets of things that you're talking about, that we could, have as deeper dives, potentially with collaboration, other people coming in, teachers and such like that, so that you guys have a real good idea like you said, at budget time, to support or not support programs, that are going on or people that are, in our school district. I think it's well said, you guys.
I think that's just the key right there is, we don't know. I mean, I don't pretend to know what I'm doing here. I don't. I have a full-time job. I have a family. I have extracurricular activities like we all do. This is our second job, right? So we'd like to hear from them, our staff and the folks out on on the front lines. What works for them, and it's not even just the tough stuff. It's what are your success stories, right? Because other teachers in other buildings may not know what's going on in a different classroom, what worked, and then understanding what worked, we'll be able to make those better informed decisions on how to proceed forward. Go ahead, Christy, and then Robbie.
So one thing I was thinking, an example of what would be interesting to kind of have a presentation on. So last year we put into policy around sportsmanship. So that's the kind of stuff we are putting into policy. We're thinking about a cell phone policy, right? So can we hear from those that are impacted by those policies or the things that we're making decisions about, whether or not it's working? What are the success stories you're hearing? What are the things that we might need to tweak? How did the public respond? Those kinds of tangible things. Because I don't want to get into the weeds of how what's going bad in a school, because I think that's the superintendent's role. But if the middle school leadership is trying something new on Wednesdays, let's workshop that and hear from them. What are they doing? Is it working? What's not working? That I think would be more beneficial for this kind of conversation. Those are just examples that came into my head.
Robbie.
Yeah, and I think Nicole's right. Nobody gets into this job thinking that they're going to know everything right from the start. And believe me, you don't. And we're all here to serve, to help our community grow. And the fact that is we want to be here to help students learn is that's the groundwork that we need to go with. And we need to get that out to the staff and the administrators, that we're willing to listen, and the decisions that we have to make affect them. So that's the input that we need coming back.
So I sent the two of you a chat, but for transparency, I know you didn't have your laptop there. You'll get it tomorrow. But so everybody else knows, kind of thinking about that line of maybe it's not things that people would necessarily be comfortable talking about. I think a really great first topic would be staff retention, specifically ed tech retention. What's going wrong? How can we fix it? What are our options? Let's strategize.
Yeah, it's funny, Nancy, you say that. I just received a survey in regards to ed tech retention. I'm trying to think of what organization sent it to me, but people are having the same issue. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of schools in particular. Yeah, obviously, right? So, yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Anything else? Oh, what was that? Oh, the association.
I'm trying to think. It was Diana Dwyron who sent it to me. She used to work with the state. Yeah. I don't know if she still does or not. But anyway.
But yeah, and bottom line, we just can't help you fix it if we don't know about it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate that, Scott. Thank you.
All right. Any final words on that? Are we good? Good to move on? All righty. 7.3, to review the process and documents for superintendent's evaluation. So, homework is upon us, my friends. Everybody should have a printed copy. I also can distribute it electronically. I have put together an evaluation and, again, used my friend Copilot. I said, hey, Copilot, give me a superintendent evaluation for somebody who's been on the job for 4 months. Right, because that's what everybody was saying at the beginning of when the year here. We had to do the evaluation, and I think it's in our policy to do it in October.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I think it's that specific. So here we are, October, we're getting it launched. So I said, hey, give me a 4-month one. And I also took the one from, so I did have one that was provided last year, because we did talk about potentially doing it last year and voted not to. So I, made sure that it touched upon, like, it knows that, like, when I ask Copilot stuff, it knows it's RSU 4. Like, we're friends.
Oh my.
Yeah. So that is what everybody has in front of you now. And what we need to do is figure out when we're going to have it completed by.
Nicole, would it be helpful to create a Google Doc to do that, like a Google form?
Maybe. So
Would you like me to do that for you?
If you would like to do that,
Would the
I would
board
not.
prefer that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Diane's shaking her head. Yes, Robbie's a
As
yes.
vice chair, I can do that.
And
for
I'm
you.
fine if you guys want to do paper and hand it in. Like, we could do it either or.
What's
Could
your
you
Um,
elaborate what that is?
like a Google form?
Okay.
So like each one of these would be an entry form that you would rate, and then it would anonymously calculate everything for you. So like Nicole would just get all of our responses, and it would have it all calculated.
So like the other surveys that we've
Just
put
like we did
out.
with the board member, the board.
Yes, like the
survey.
board survey.
Yeah.
I would just have it be a Google form that you could just, like, each question would be its own entry, and then there'd be opportunity for you to write comment.
I
Take
like that.
me like 5 seconds. I think it would organize it better, and then we can just copy it every
That's
year.
fine. Yeah. I mean, if we even want to use it for next year or the year after, you can still, just change some things or add things
Yeah.
for, more than 4 months. Rocky, you had your Robbie.
No,
I say that name often, by the way.
Chrissy answered the question I was going to ask.
Okay. So yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah. That's going to be funny.
Can you send me
Yeah.
your electronic copy, and then I can change it to a Google form for
I
everybody?
sure can. So we're going to put, go ahead, Doug.
A clarifying question with this document. Are we supposed to be rating each bullet, or is it each category? Each category is just rated as a whole,
Mhm.
and the bullets are just examples of, okay, just
Mhm.
okay.
Is that semantics question? Is this pulled from the job description? These bullets?
So the bullets are not pulled from the job description, but they are collapsed in a sense. So
Okay.
like the job description was, and the prior evaluation I
Was
think
huge.
was at least double the
Yeah.
length,
Yeah.
because it just said,
Mhm.
did superintendent hired staff and superintendent did budget, and this kind of collapsed them into more conceptual
Okay.
questions or bullets basically, but it does align with the job description as well as policies as well as the main DOE evaluation strategy. Yeah.
And the last section, the developmental goals.
So that section is what it gave us,
Okay, so
right? So
should
those you
we-
can consider
Okay.
if you want to keep those, change those, add to those. Right now there's 4,
Perhaps we wait until we get the results to come up with those.
and that's perfectly fine too. What it did was it built it off of the
questions,
evaluating categories. Mm. And there is a section for comments too. So if you have
So-
any comments that you would like to make, you are free to do that as well. Can we do that in the Google form?
Yep. I can probably have the Google form done by Friday. So should we set a deadline?
Yes, we need to talk about a deadline here. So our next meeting is quick, right? November 5th.
November 5th, yeah.
And then we have our meeting after that is November 19th and then December 10th. And that's it for the year, calendar year.
19th is.
Does that work for everybody?
What'd you say? 19th?
Could we say could you have it completed by the 14th? That way Nicole can have all the results for the 19th. Will that give you? But you should still give
Nope.
feedback.
No.
No, you're through
Nope.
the calendar year.
Marco's like, nope.
I think your term would end on December 31st, right? Yeah.
The new person. So when I ran, I was sworn in December.
December. It's the first board member meeting in December.
So it's the 10th.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah,
meeting we have
so
in
I was-
December.
I was going to ask you about that because I don't know when if you're sworn in over there and what happens.
But you just
So-
keep rolling here, Nancy. That's all you got to do. If you don't get it there, you just keep on keeping on.
So could everybody have it done by the 14th?
We ain't letting you go that easily, Nancy. All right, so
How about can we do the 12th?
Sure.
I got big Yeah, because that's exactly a week from our November 5th.
Can we do the 10th? Because I wrote 19, and a 0 is way easier to fix.
If that's the deadline, if that is the deadline,
I
you
am
wanna give
going with the
yourself,
12th.
Doug, you need
I like the 12th.
You may choose any deadline as long as it's before the 12th.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah, you can get it in tomorrow if you want.
Yeah.
For real.
Right back.
For real. I like that.
Refresh.
No,
Yeah.
November 10th, November 12th. See what you did, Doug. November 12th, we will have completed superintendent evaluations that we will,
And I will give,
There'll be an executive session that evening for that.
the 19th.
Yeah, the 19th. Not that evening, the 19th. Yep. Got it.
and Nicole, we can talk about
Okay, I'll send it to you and you work your magic.
you bet.
That's magic I don't have right there.
That's okay.
Any other questions about the evaluation? Now, listen, it was not, matched line by line. If there is something that you don't like, or if there's something that you think needs to be expanded upon, happy to receive that feedback. I just didn't want to go with like the 8-page, basically regurgitation of the job description that has previously been used. Okay.
Is there
Oh.
is there a self? Does Marco have to do a self evaluation?
So I don't know.
Okay.
I actually questioned that. So Marco has it. So he's got the open book test.
You want me to fill out my own evaluation, or
Yeah.
We did. I mean, we
yeah,
did.
right?
So we didn't
could
do
do
it
that.
we didn't do it last year. Was it done the year before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the self.
I'm
the-
happy to
the
do that. It's no
superintendent.
problem.
Give your own Google form.
All right.
Wow, thank you.
Ooh.
It needs.
Yeah, I think basically it was personal goals that we talked about. I'm just saying the things that were
Mhm.
that were discussed as far as on that personal evaluation. It was kind of boilerplate, and they came in and
All right. So we're gonna have Marco do a self eval.
Same one.
Same one.
But instead of board comments, it will say
Superintendent comments.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You do not get to tell us what you don't like, though.
No, really? Don't like about myself? Is that what it says?
No, about the evaluation.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I like your feedback too. Okay. Anything else about the evaluation? All right. Moving on. 7.4. To approve Beth Reed as the English teacher at Oak Hill High School of Regional School Unit Number 4 as recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Any other business? I have nothing. No. Committee reports. I believe we have personnel and policy.
We
Christy?
sure do. We had a really great meeting tonight. Marco created an exit survey for those leaving or retiring from the RSU. That was a task that we had put on his plate. So we spent time kind of reviewing and approving that. So it has been approved and will be used. I think you said there's some folks that left recently that will be able to send
Right,
that survey
absolutely.
out
I would
to.
send it to them. Yep.
Awesome. We spent some time on policy JKAA, which is an existing policy that we have. And due to law changes, the committee has some questions. So we're going to ask Justin to join us at our next meeting so we can be better informed before we send it to the board for first reading. And then at our next meeting, we are reviewing policies BDD, BDG, BE, BEDC, and BDF. I think those are all the right ones. We will review them and then send them to you all for the first read, our second meeting in November. And then we're exploring a new policy, which is JICJ, exploring cell phones and other electronic devices in schools. I'm sure everybody saw the email that we got from MMSA suggesting that we look at that policy. So that will be upcoming. Did I miss anything? Okay, that's it.
All right. Board member comments. Robbie.
Yeah, I was thinking this week, going to the selectmen's meeting in the town, and they seemed like every time I'm sitting there, they have questions for me. But I was wondering if it would be beneficial for the superintendent to come in like quarterly at each meeting to give like an overview of where we are, and especially with budget season coming in. You know, probably not starting until we get a little bit more clarification on the budget, to give the select persons and the community, because we're on video now in the town, to see you come in and go over, you know, the highlights of where we are and what's going on in the schools, and get a better back and forth between the town and the school.
Yeah, it's not a problem whatsoever, Robbie. I mean,
I know it's another night out.
That's fine. I appreciate that, Robbie. Thanks. But I mean, I have no issue with that. I mean, ultimately, that's I would say it's probably one of my goals, is to make sure that I'm, you know, visible, especially at select board meetings, you know, across the 3 towns. And that's no issue whatsoever. I actually was thinking about, I mean, our first quarter will end soon.
Right.
You know, the end of October, beginning of November. So we're close, is really what it comes down to. So I can get on the agendas for next month pretty quick, I think.
Mhm.
I'll have to talk to Sharon. We'll see if she'll let me on. But oh, that's right. I can just show up. It's no big deal, right? But I can do that with the other towns. That's not an issue. Even just to give an overview of, like, this is where we're at as far as the start of school year is concerned, you know, our number of students, just, you know, general information. And then, you know, what's good, Robbie, if I'm doing it quarterly, January rolls around, and then, you know, we'll be into budget season, that's for sure, and giving them an update in regards to drivers and things of that nature. That's not a problem. I'm happy to do that.
I just think the more information we get out,
Yep.
sooner the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy it, right? Like, you know, everybody that I've run into on the select boards across the 3 towns have been very welcoming and kind. So, you know, I'm happy to continue that relationship. That's not an issue. Appreciate it.
Oh, I actually have really positive feedback from Marco. I heard from many families how nice it was to hear your voice to give people the overview of the economic forum. They were like, oh, Marco's voice it's just so cool to see a superintendent like connecting on that level with people. So I just wanted to give you that feedback.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
The Oak Hill Middle School girls field hockey, but it's a rec department, they were in 3rd place this year, and they played a 2nd place team yesterday in the finals, and they won. So they're going to the championships, and Saturday night they're playing under the lights in Winthrop. They're playing on turf.
That's great. Diane, who are they playing? Do you know who they're playing?
Winthrop?
Oh, they are playing Winthrop. I see. At Winthrop. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they
Wow.
played Jay.
Yeah, Spruce Mountain.
It was an unbelievable game.
Love it.
It was absolutely crazy because they had played them a week and a half ago and they lost 4-0. and they beat them 2-1.
That's
They
great.
got their second goal 57 seconds before the game ended.
That's great. Love it. Love it.
I'll
And
talk
this year,
sports too. Boys varsity soccer made the championship, so that's just next week, I guess that starts.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, yeah. They I think ended the season in 5th place.
That's great.
Playoffs will start next week, so that's pretty huge considering what all they went through.
That's right.
Yeah, and they don't have a lineup, but it looks like they're going to be playing a team that they actually beat for their first game, so that's good. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Boosters,
please.
the Oak Hill Boosters Facebook page usually always puts the games on there, so follow that one if you don't.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is Monday, November 3rd. If you don't know, there's spaghetti dinner at the high school to raise funds for Coach Lamont from 6 to 8. Suggested donation $5 per plate. There's going to be a 50-50 and probably some other raffles going on too.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep. Let me look.
I know we put that on the district Facebook page.
Yep.
I'm trying to
I
think
would
if
suggest maybe just messaging for that information. I don't see it on here.
on the Facebook page, or you're saying sorry, if you can't attend, how do you donate?
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, there was a what do you call it?
GoFundMe.
A GoFundMe, which I believe is still
Mhm.
out there. So there's one way.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure whoever's putting on the spaghetti dinner, I apologize, I don't know, but whoever's putting it on would be happy to accept a donation.
Sure.
do they need donations of sweets or anything like that?
They were looking for
Soccer cookies, Diane.
I'm at the American Legion.
well,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it must be the Boosters Club because the Boosters Club post says if you would like to donate raffle items, make a cash donation, or help in any other way, please message us.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Those are boosters.
Is the boosters the boosters is the parents?
The high
that are-
school.
High
High
school.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yep.
they have a collection jar at different places around town?
That's a good idea.
I don't know.
I believe so.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah, anybody else?
One more thing. Savannah Selectmen voted last night to allow rec cheering to use our old school,
Ah, no
the
way.
gym.
That's great.
I think that's a great move to
Yeah.
show people that, it's there and it's available.
Yeah, that's great, Robbie.
Because they really didn't have a spot because our consolidation pieces, just about, they were talking about using Kerry Ricker cafeteria and
Yeah.
it just wasn't big enough for the mats. But yeah, they allowed them to use the primary school
That's
yesterday.
wonderful. Yeah, and I mean just to show the flexibility,
Yep.
right? That's there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Go ahead, Doug.
I saw that the potholes that I mentioned were filled in. I just feel like that's important. It's amazing to feel like like you're actually heard, even as a
Yeah, but now you can't zip around the parking lot, Doc.
I know there was but these ones were in specifically. I don't Oak Hill Road. Is that what that road is that goes to Oak Hill High School? Yeah, right.
It's School Road.
School Road.
Yeah.
School Road. Yeah. They were filled in, and I mean it makes a huge difference. I see a lot less people really bottoming out on those. But
That's awesome.
I think it's kudos to Sean for doing that. And,
Sure.
And the facilities, anybody else that's involved with facilities that did that. So I appreciate it, and I think a lot of other people do too.
Good.
Okay, any other comments? Well, I just want to thank you guys for your discussion and attention, and appreciate you being here. So with that, without objection, the meeting is adjourned, 8:14 p.m.